So I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but Kathleen Kennedy really cares about female representation and about elevating females in Hollywood. I think at one point she said something like, I want half of my board to be made up of females or half of my executives to be females or something like that, right? So I don't know if you knew this or not, but that is an important thing to Kathleen Kennedy. And of course, you know, Kathleen Kennedy helmed the Rey movies, which were like the first Star Wars movies kind of starring a female lead. You know, I think Star Wars has done a pretty good job with female representation over the year, giving us one of the greatest female characters of all time in Leia, right? But, you know, fair play to her and to Disney. They wanted to create the Rey movie, the trilogy. And they did. She's been saying for a long time, because she's been getting difficult questions from the press, because sometimes the press will be like, you know, Kathy, you say all this about female representation and female this, female that. When is a female going to direct a Star Wars movie? And so the female president of Lucasfilm was hell-bent on getting a female director for a Star Wars movie. And she did it. And that director was Patty Jenkins. And it was a match made in heaven. It was awesome. I mean, Patty Jenkins was an inspired choice, an incredible filmmaker, dropped this dope video of herself talking about her father as a pilot, talking about wanting to honor her father, talking about how much she loved Star Wars. I got the feels. When I saw that video. I was excited. I thought it was a great pick because, sure, Patty Jenkins is a female. By the way, Patty Jenkins, after directing Wonder Woman, she's actually been on record in interviews saying, like, why do I have to keep being talked about as the female director that did this? Like, I'm just a director. Like, you know, but that's neither here nor there. So Patty was going to be that female director. Prolific name, great pick. And then this is what happened. The female president of Lucasfilm couldn't fucking figure that shit out, just like she can't figure it out with anybody else. And just like has been done a million fucking times over the past couple of years, the project fell completely apart. So then Kathleen Kennedy went to find a different female director and crafter of the story. And I think at this point, and this is a little bit of speculation, but from my perspective here, it's probably the case that Kathy was like, well, I can't work well with others, especially high-profile creative people that have earned their way in Hollywood. So instead, I will find a very low-profile person that technically knows how to say cut, and I will empower that person so that therefore I will have more control over this situation and it won't fall apart like all of the other projects have fallen apart over the last couple of years. Now that person is Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy. Now I don't have anything personally against Sharmeen, but Sharmeen is an activist, and I don't mean that in the sense of like a lot of you buttholes on Twitter that try to be reply guy and, you know, push social justice or whatever. No, I mean like she's an actual activist, an award-winning documentary director that has talked about very important issues, you know what I mean? And respect, like, yo, like real respect, like that's some real shit. It's more real than a lot of shit I do. Good for you, Sharmeen. That's the person that Kathleen picked to be that first female director of a Star Wars movie, okay? Now here's something else that's kind of interesting to add into this story. Damon Lindelof, another high-profile creative force in Hollywood, was put on this Rey movie. Had a vision, but just like all the other creative force of nature kind of people in Hollywood, Kathy can't get along with them. So Kathy hires Sharmeen to direct the Lindelof movie, and Lindelof didn't even know that shit. In fact, reportedly, Lindelof was upset that his work, his script, his movie was going to be handled by such an amateur filmmaker. Sharmeen is not a feature film creator. She has done short documentaries, which again, probably dope. Won a couple Oscars. She directed a couple episodes of Miss Marvel, and now she is being handed the reins of the next Rey Skywalker important legacy type of a movie. And so I say all of that because I think the narrative with this story is incel neckbeard men angry because Charmin Obed Chinoy said it's about time that we had a woman come forward to shape a story in a galaxy far, far away. And I don't know about you guys, but that's not why I'm upset. I'm upset because the whole thing feels like a farce. And we had a good female director in Patty Jenkins. And the female president that has shaped the Star Wars stories under Disney for the past 6 years couldn't figure that shit out. And so instead, now we're gonna like shuffle along, act like this is all fine, and deflect valid criticism by saying some weird fortune cookie type shit about it's about time. So I'm truly, authentically horrified by the entire situation and by the reaction from the fans. Because just like always, the Ouroboros, that is the Star Wars fandom, just keeps eating its own tail, taking the bait, arguing about the merits of a person that doesn't have the merits to get that job, instead of just like being real, instead of just being able to call it what it is. There's only so many times the female president of Lucasfilm can deflect things into a sex gender conversation until we can like actually talk about the problem, which is the female president of the company. But here's the rub. It's not because she's a female. It's because she's terrible at her job. Merit. Star Wars gonna Star Wars. Star Wars fans gonna Star Wars fans. Like sand through the hourglass. So are the days of our lives.